Welcome back to Thriving in His Calling. I had planned to start off this series with my testimony. Instead, the Lord heavily put it on my heart this past week and last week, really, to talk about Halloween. I'm going to start off with my testimony in part 1 in the next episode. However, for now and for the time speaking, I do want to speak on Halloween, especially since we're in the season of it. And the Lord just really heavily put it on my heart. And so I love to speak about that. So I'm going to use a term called Mennonite in this podcast and as well as in my testimony. And you may know what Mennonite is and you may not. If you are from back in Canada and you're listening, you probably know what Mennonite is. Mennonite is really all over the world. For me, I am raised as Mennonite in my childhood. That's how my parents raised me, how my grandparents raised my parents, and so on. And so Mennonite is very similar to Amish, which is kind of a pretty decent definition of it, but they're still very similar. There's still differences between the two of them. For me, Mennonite is like a cult. I could be very wrong because when I research it in ChatGPT or Google, it says Mennonite is not a cult, but I think that if you are really deep within Mennonite, that it does feel like a cult. And for me, that is what it felt like. Just a cult of what you could do and you couldn't do, and where you could go and couldn't go, and what you could wear and you couldn't wear. A lot of rules. It is still considered a part of Christianity. However, their view is that if you go to church, you'll be saved. No matter what you did the night prior, no matter what you did the week prior, no matter what, you can come to church and put your head down and fall half asleep in church and still you be saved because you went to church. They believe that if you go to church, you'll be saved. And so it's a very big religion of a lot of rules, a lot of things that you can and can't do. And you know, if you go to church, you're saved, and that is it. So I'll be using Mennonite quite a bit in this part, the first part of my episode, but however, it will be mentioned quite a lot because I do think the Mennonite church does need to be awakened as well. And wherever the Lord sends me for His glory, that is where I'm going. And so growing up in Mennonite, Halloween was never to be celebrated. So that was a holiday that Mennonites could not celebrate whatsoever. So for my family growing up, we didn't give out candy. We did not dress up. On Halloween night, actually, we would turn off the lights at our front porch and the front half of our house and majority of the back of our house. We would just turn the lights off and we would lock the doors so that nobody would come to our house. Because sometimes, like we noticed that on Halloween night, people would, ring the doorbell or knock on the door for candy, right? And so we would turn off all the lights, lock all the doors, and sit in the back of the house and do something, either watch a movie or play games, board games. And fairly so by that time, when it got dark outside, it was pretty much bedtime for us as kids. And so we'd go to bed. But we would not put a bowl outside. We wouldn't do anything. We would turn all the lights off and go to the back, and that was it. But however, when my sister got really sick, which is also that's a very, very, very big part of my testimony. When she got sick for a couple of years, we did celebrate Halloween. We did go out and go get candy. We didn't dress up though, but we did go out trick-or-treating because she got really, really sick. And if you know my sister at all, her name is Callie. I only have one sister. She was diagnosed with Down syndrome when she was born, and she also was diagnosed with stage 4 blood cancer at age 4. And so it was really hard on my family. It was very hard on Callie herself. And so that is why my parents thought, maybe she asked quite a bit because she saw people doing it and she really wanted to. And she saw movies about it and she really wanted to. She really, really wanted to. And so, not that I think it's acceptable, but however, my parents did allow it. Speaking on Halloween celebrations, as far as haunted houses, I've only ever been to one haunted house in my entire life. And when I did go, I had to go because if not, I would have been counted absent. It was for a school field trip, technically, you could call it. And so I had to go. I've never in my life, when I went to that, I've never in my life been more on guard, right? I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people are on guard when they go to haunted houses because it's things popping out at you and creeping up behind you and scaring you. That's not something that I want to be terrified of my entire life, right? I want to be aware of it, but not terrified of it my entire life. So for me, I don't think that that's okay. And I felt it on my heart to talk about the demonic things that I've seen over the years, and especially this year, as I'm becoming more and more aware of how much we need God more than we need Him ever. There's so many demonic things when you look at it that you see. I mean, even right now in Halloween, right? This is Halloween season or fall season, as you would call it. There are so many demonic things out there. And I have just become more and more aware that there are so many demonic things. So many people being controlled by demonic spirits. And it's sad to see that this is in our world. But it is. And it just proves more that we need God. And there are so many people coming to Christ now. Not just in this season, but especially this year that I've seen. A very good friend of mine named Mary said something to me this last week that really stuck with me, and I want to share that with you. She had said that Halloween is like having a one-night stand with Satan and Hades. And that really hit me hard because I never thought of it that way, but it's so true. Halloween is like having one night of the year where you are either around demonic spirits intentionally or you become one of those demonic spirits and you're having a one night stand with Satan, with evil. And as if you are a Christian, we are not meant to be lukewarm Christians. And I think that if you are having a one night stand with the devil, you are being a lukewarm Christian. That is far from what we are called to be. There's so many people who say, oh, I want to fit in. Oh, my friends from YA are going to a haunted house and dressing up as witches or demons or clowns or anything demonic, really. And they're saying, oh, I want to go and I want to be included, even if that means putting Jesus on the back burner. Oh, but it's just one night. It's just one night. It's just one night of the year where I go and dress up. Or the week prior to Halloween, I'm going and I'm dressing up. And I'm going out and doing these demonic things. But it's okay because it's the spirit of the season. I don't think that's right because we are called to be set apart. We are called to be set apart and not of this world. So then why are we participating in having a so-called one-night stand with Satan? That doesn't make sense. Romans 12:2 says, do not conform to the patterns of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We are called to stay away from demonic things. We're called to rather be a light rather than go and participate in these things that are going on. I definitely think that as Christians, if you are a Christian, there are different things you can do on Halloween. You can go talk to people. You can give out little booklets. I've seen people over the years, instead of putting a bowl of candy out or having a bowl of candy, they'll have a bowl of booklets, and it'll be of either the New Testament, Old Testament, Jesus' life. There's so many different things I've seen over the years. I've even seen some people give out goodie bags that still have a little bit of candy in them, but they also have like a pencil in there, sometimes a little devotional, a little Bible, so many things that they can put into it. The world is endless of how many things that we can do on Halloween night to rather spread the gospel rather than to participate against the gospel and against Jesus and do demonic things. Ephesians 5:11, that I also want to quote, says, have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. So you going and dressing up, trick-or-treating, trunk-or-treating, haunted houses, is any of that bearing fruit for you? Is any of that getting you closer to Jesus? It's not. It's definitely not. Another verse is 1 Thessalonians 5:22, which says, reject every kind of evil. Halloween, at the end of the day, is evil, and it is demonic. And that is not something that you should be partaking in just because it's just one night or it's only 1 week of the year that you're celebrating it. It's demonic. Putting up Halloween decorations that are demonic. The skeletons, the clowns, the scarecrows. I think that's all I've seen. But all of those, they're all demonic. Why would you participate in that? There's no reason for it. You are called to be set apart of this world, to reject all kinds of evil, not to participate in it. John 3:1, verse 11 also says, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. We are called to reflect light, not imitate evil practices. There is no point in going and celebrating Halloween. We're not here to have a one-night stand with the devil. That's so far from the truth. We are called to get closer and closer to Jesus and be more like him of this world, because this world is really dark. I've seen my fair share of moving throughout Mexico, Canada, in the United States. There's so many places that I've traveled to and lived. And at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of demonic things, a lot of it. But we are called to shed light onto those things the best that we can, and as well as in a safe, considerate way that we can. I did reach out to a few people this past week in my life, and I want to get their opinion on Halloween. Because the Lord really put it on my heart to speak on Halloween, and that is what I'm doing. But I also wanted to contact a few people in my circle and see what they had to say, and what their opinion was. And one of the people that I reached out to was someone that I typically looked up to at the time. And I asked him, what is your viewpoint on Christians celebrating Halloween? And he had said that you can choose to fully reject Halloween, but it's all around you. And speaking out against it won't have an impact that you're hoping for. And this particular person is someone that I truly looked up to, someone that in Christianity had a big impact here in California on me. But I definitely think that the Lord put it on my heart, and I felt him put it on my heart for many days. And I felt that right now is the perfect time to speak out about it, especially given the fact of Halloween, I believe, is next week, if I'm correct. We are called to be set apart. I know I say that over and over and over again, but I truly mean it. And it's mentioned so many times in the Bible. We are not to conform of the world. We are to be set apart. We are to be like Jesus. Go spread the light. I truly believe that if you are a Christian, that you are to run as far away from evil as you can. Our call as believers is not to just is to not participate in darkness, but is to be completely set up part of the world. Why would we have a one night stand with Satan? We wouldn't. If you put it in those contexts, we wouldn't. Why would we have a one night stand with Satan? For me, I wouldn't. I believe that we are called to be like Christ fully. And I believe there is a lot of grace, because I think a lot of people don't understand and don't know what they are doing, what they are celebrating, what they are wearing. A lot of people just don't view it as demonic. But when you do a deeper dive into it and you do deeper research into it and really look beyond the scope of what you're just seeing on the outside, it's very demonic. And you don't want to be a part of that. I know for me personally, I don't want to be part of that. I want to be set apart, and I want to stay as far away from it as I possibly can. That is where I'm going to end today's show. And God bless you, and I will see you next week.